Hi everyone, welcome back to another happy hour episode with me, Anna Morfides, where we are going to really get into it today about changing unhealthy relationships. And I think this episode is actually going to be a really big one because it's going to put us in a power of seat, take us out of that victim mentality and put us into a seat of power and really understand and take responsibility about how we are contributing in relationships that don't feel good. How do we change an unhealthy relationship? We have to take responsibility about how we contribute to that relationship to begin with. Sitting there and blaming the other person will not take us anywhere ever. And this is one of the hardest things that I find myself trying to be with when I work with couples and or even family members, because sometimes family members can have a relationship just as dynamic as a romantic relationship can be, which means, what does dynamic mean? There are dynamic relationships and static relationships. And Deepak Chopra, or Dr. Deepak Chopra, is the biggest explainer of this concept. And he brings light to the fact that there's going to be people in our life that will trigger us the most, and that will be of a dynamic nature. And then there's people in our life that really don't really have a really big purpose as far as triggering us go to, therefore they become a dynamic relationship, whether it's a romantic or non-romantic, will be a big catalyst to your healing and your understanding of your core beliefs and your attachment style and all your childhood stuff. And a static relationship is, like, as the word implies, static, not much movement will be created from within, and it just feels a lot more like settling. So dynamic relationships, we have to take responsibility. We are creators of our reality, and we are 50% responsible of everything. So if we sit there and we keep saying they're such an asshole, or she's such a bitch, or cold-hearted, or they're a narcissist, or they're this and then that, I'm not discounting the fact that there are personality disorders, and they do belong in the DSM-V, which is the handbook of all of us counselors. But even a narcissist can change, to be honest. And everyone and anyone can change. And why am I using the word narcissist? Because in the situation of my current life right now, being with couples that are in relationships that would resemble that of a narcissistic nature, and how they're handling it, is the biggest challenge for me, to really get them to understand that if they keep pointing the finger to the other person and expecting them to change, there will be no change. That's why we have power in relationships that we forget, because I was that victim once upon a time. I was the one that was crying on the ground, being called pathetic or obsessive, and I will definitely make another video about that word obsessive, because that's a really big label. And once you understand attachment style and childhood wounds, then that word becomes way different than what we kind of associate that to be. So I could easily sit there and be like, why are they doing this to me? Like, why are they being so mean to me? Blah, da, 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 da. But once I understood that I am a 50% contributor of any experience that I have in my life, and I am bringing these people in, then and only then can I create change, because now I have the ability to change my self-concept. I have the ability to change my core beliefs. I have an ability to change my attachment style. So if I feel like that I get quote unquote obsessed with people, 99.99% of the time, I'm going to have an attachment style that of an anxious nature. no one escapes attachment style. We all have one. So, and sure enough, when I went through counseling school and I had to get my attachment style tested, I tested very much as an anxious attached individual. And it makes sense with the upbringing that I had, why I was anxiously attached. So I wasn't obsessed. I was just literally yearning for an experience that I never got to have as a child with my primary caregiver, which now I'm recapitulating in the eyes of my romantic lovers. And a really famous person once said, and I wrote this down so I don't forget it, we meet a match that we attract from the lack within ourselves. We attract our lacks. So I attracted my lacks, my lack of self-confidence, my lack of self-worth, my lack of self-love, my rejection wounds, so my lack of security, my lack of everything showed up in my romantic relationship. So I could sit there and cry all day long. Why are they treating me this way? One after the other. Why are they showing up and leaving me, breadcrumbing me? Whatever it is. Or once I understood what was happening, I can take responsibility and not attract my lack anymore and fix my lack, change my self-concept, raise my self-worth, create self-love, really love myself. And actually Will Smith just, I saw him in an interview and he said something very similar. He was talking about how being really rich and being at the top of a peak where you have enough money, you have enough of everything, it's almost the same thing as being at the bottom of the grime, at the abyss of the darkness, because having all that money and stuff, he said he realized that all he was ever looking for was himself. And you can't find yourself with money and external things. It's all internal. And same with this, feelings of, say, being obsessed or anxious or discomfort in a relationship. You're looking for you. You are looking for you through the eyes of somebody else, because when we were little, we were looking for those 4 S's through the eyes of our primary caregiver, because children can't fulfill the 4 S's. But after you become an adult, you can do that. We have the power to fill our needs. We have the power to heal our wounds, and no one escapes attachment style, childhood wounds. We don't escape core beliefs, right? We all acquire them. That's the point of life, is you pick your lessons, you come and you live them. Catalysts will be thrown into your life path to show you what is happening. And then it's our job to go in and heal it. So now it becomes a blessing, it's not a trauma anymore. It becomes a blessing. And we know that if we truly attract our lack, we can use that to our advantage, rewire our nervous system, and then we go into a different attachment style. So now I am securely attached to myself. I've done so many self-love workshops that I really love myself. I've learned to forgive myself. What else have I done? I've done breath work to release all the shame that lives in my body. I've done muscle testing to heal my abandonment wound. Affirmations. I meditate pretty much every day. Meditation. There was actually a TED Talk about meditation by a scientist that says, in a biological sort of sense, the connection between the subconscious mind and the conscious mind is breath. When we breathe deeply, we kick into gear the frontal cortex. The frontal cortex is responsible for our conscious mind, so our conscious decisions and things that we do. And the back of your head is where your limbic system lies, your amygdala lies, and the back of your head is your subconscious mind. So the bridge of the subconscious mind to the conscious mind is your breath. So when you breathe, you bring yourself forward into your frontal cortex, where you want to be, because this is where the conscious mind lives. The subconscious mind, as we now know, runs 95% of our nervous system, and it's just automatic day in and day out. But if you want to know what it runs on automatically, just look at the world around you and how you are treated, and then you will know. You will know the amount of self-love that you have. You will know the amount of worth for yourself that you have, how much of a doormat you are, what you really think and feel about yourself, your attachment style. Just watch the world to understand that part of you. And like that person said, we date our lack, is the things that we lacked to feel as a child, and we find them in our future romantic partners and or other relationships. It's because from a biology standpoint, your subconscious mind, which runs 95% of everything, right? That's why we have to go into consciousness to really understand what's happening by paying attention to the world around us. The limbic system and the amygdala, they tell stories all day, every day. And those stories are the stories that stem from core beliefs that are not true, such as I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I'm bound to be rejected, I'm bound to be alone, I'm worthless, I'm not worthy to be loved, I'm too fat, I'm too this, no, who else is gonna love me, I really suck, this will never gonna work out for me, that person's so lucky, why couldn't my mother love me, why did my dad treat me like that, what's wrong with my family, what's wrong with me, what's wrong with him. Stories all the time, all the time, all the time. And we are the ones that get to listen to the story. So if you take a moment and tap into your true self, right? Your true self is the one that listens to this chatter, listens to the stories. That's why we have narrative therapy in counseling, because you can change your story by changing your thoughts. You change your thoughts, like Louise Hay says, you change your life. Dr. Joe Dispenza, change your thoughts, change your personality, change your personal reality. It's thoughts, emotions, behaviors. The thoughts of a positive person that chooses positive thoughts will have positive emotions and positive behaviors. A person who is still stuck in subconscious negative pattern of thinking will have negative emotions that are predominantly arising within them, and then we'll have behaviors that will also reflect that state of being. And then we're going to keep attracting the same thing, because emotions are everything. And that's how it goes. And that's why we have to take responsibility when we feel uncomfortable in any connection, because that's what it means to that we are powerful as human beings, and we have a lot more power than we know and we remember, because we can literally change that. If we waited for the other person to change in order for us to feel better, then that would never work. And that's why, that would just never work. And that's why this is not what is taught and written about. Where we can create change is the thing that we can actually control, which is ourselves and our way of thinking and feeling about us and the world around us. And we use the world around us as a compass to know where we are right now. And then we uncover our core beliefs, we change our core beliefs, and we change our inner state of being, your self-concept, whatever you want to call it. There's many modalities out there that help us. There's a really good book by Dr. Nicole LePera. It's called How to Do the Work. And she walks you through all of it. Or I actually do have a workshop as well that I use, that I did over the summer. I can put the playlist underneath below, and you can have it here for no cost at all. To help you start changing your inner state of being and starting to have more positive experiences in your life, and taking full responsibility of how you got there, and being grateful, not resentful, for whoever it is that's making you feel uncomfortable anyways, because they are your catalyst to your true healing. And then I swear it's just going to feel better and better and better and better each day and every day. And then that charge that people have when they come to me and they're like, how can he, and I can't believe they did this, and I can't believe they did that, and how could they? I get it, right? We feel hurt. They're hurting us. They are triggering every single thing that we weren't able to feel as a child. It's triggered by a romantic partner, and it's our job to heal us. When we know that, then we don't see them as the evil person anymore. We just simply see them as a messenger and as someone that we actually have attracted into our life to help us do the healing. That's all. But that takes a big, emotionally intelligent person to do that. And with work, that can happen. With daily gentle reminders, that can happen. And gratitude really helps to do that. Every counselor will pretty much say for every one negative thing that you want to think about someone, you say 5 positive things to rewire the way that you think about that person and get out of that resentment type of state of being, and also taking control of your life as well, and not fearing that they're going to leave you or this or that, because you have everything that you need from inside. You don't need that other person to be whole and complete. The only thing that you need to would be of your highest best good to realize is what you are lacking from within that they're simply showing you, right? Because we attract our lacks. And then instead of pointing and projecting, we go inwards and we heal, and we either watch that person elevate to meet us, or we watch that person naturally just fall away, and there's room replaced for somebody else, because there's always going to be someone else that will love you. I swear to every cell of my being, there's always going to be somebody else. The law of attraction doesn't just stop attracting people and or situations in our life. But what happens is, if we don't heal, the chances that we're gonna attract the exact same situation but in a different face is really highly likely. And I know that through experience with myself and with people that I work with. So use that to your advantage. See the treasure in the perceived trauma feeling state of being somewhere where it hurts. And remember that you've called this in. You have the power to change it. They're just showing you what you need to change, and then you go ahead and you do the work. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here online with you and be sharing this beautiful knowledge that I was so blessed to come to know in my life journey, because up until I was 38 years old, I lived my life from that state of victim mentality of why is this happening to me? Sorry, I don't mean to make fun of it, but and I don't want to make fun of myself either, because even though I want to cringe sometimes thinking how I used to be, I want to give myself so much compassion and love, because I just didn't know any better. I didn't receive the love that I needed as a child. And now as an adult, I was just still looking for that, but I was able to find it from within myself, as is everyone else. And thank you to those that taught me that, so then I can live my life differently. So I know it felt like a lot of work to get to where I am today, a few years, but it doesn't matter. It was a beautiful journey, and it took a few years to even, develop my unworthiness and the negative attachment style or the anxious attachment style. Anyways, so it was well worth the work to reframe everything to be where I am today. Not that I don't struggle anymore, but I will never say things like, why are they treating me like that? I'm going to say, okay, how am I contributing to this experience? And what do I need to change in order for me to not be a participant in a situation like this again? And what am I doing to contribute this? What's bringing me there? So forth, so forth. So then I always have the power, and then I forgive myself for everything. I forgive myself for everything. Because if I don't forgive myself, then it supports the belief that I'm a bad person, and no one is a bad person. I'm not a bad person. I'm just a person like everyone else that has come into this thing called a human experience, and I try to do my best to live, but then of course I'm going to unintentionally hurt myself and other people from my own childhood wounds and attachment styles that I had. And I have to forgive myself for how I showed up, because I didn't know any better. And then I Because then if I forgive myself, then I can also forgive others as well. And then the resentment will just be gone and I'll just feel lighter. My vibration will be higher, more of acceptance and love. And I can just bring in more circumstances that will reflect that love and acceptance, as opposed to not forgiving myself and being in guilt and shame and bringing in more situations that will perpetuate the cycle of guilt and shame. So thank you so much. I love you. I'll see you next time.